So, welcome everybody to our second session of our language group. And if you guys were all here the last time, we had gotten together and done some word activities, and then we had went into breakout sessions and created poems based off of those words. And then now, shortly, you'll be able to meet all of our language speakers who have joined us, and they have translated the poems into their language. And then we'll also be able to get some teachings from this. So, before we go any further, before we get started, I would like to ask our lovely knowledge keeper here, who's always joining us for events, and we're so thankful to have her, Debbie Hunting-Hawken. She's a member of Skowhegan First Nation, and she currently resides in Brandon, Manitoba. She's a community knowledge keeper and a women's advocate at the Westman Women's Resource Center. So she'll start us off in a good way.
You can hear me? Okay. Just got a little smudge going here. Nation Ishtana, Ishinabe, Wislin, Wabshka, Genukwe, Jigo, Numeguk, Daganese, Sequoia, Tishnikas, Wabashkizi, Ludum. Let us give thanks. Okay, let's give thanks for this beautiful day. Thank you for our blessings. Thank you for all the things that we take for granted each day. Thank you for our health and being able to go to work each day and for our families and also I wanted to give thanks for the spirit of language and culture that brings us together. So that's important for our youth to continue to keep bringing it up and wanting to learn our languages. So I want to give thanks for that. I want to give thanks to all the organizers that making this happen, and to continue to keep doing that good work. I'm going to share a quick song. We'll try it. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just share a quick song. It's called Ndayan. I adopted this song to help with bringing spirit to back to our hearts, so we could relearn our culture, our languages. I came from where my first language was Anishinaabe, and my second language is English, but I lost my talk. So I had to go back and relearn. I'm still learning, so I'll just share the song real quick and then we can go, okay? It's called Ndayan. Oh, hi, yo, well. Oh, hi, yo, well. Hi, oh, hey, hi, oh, hey, oh, hi, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hi, oh, hey, hi, oh, hey, oh, hi, oh, hey, oh, hey, 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 hi, oh, hey, oh, hi, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hi, oh, hey, oh, hey, hi, oh, hey, oh, hi, oh, hey, oh, hey, 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 hi, oh, hey, oh, hi, oh, hey, oh, hey, hi, oh, hey, hi, oh, hey, oh, hi, oh, hey, away, hi, away, away, hi, away, away, hi, away, hey, away, hi, away, oh, hi, away, hi, away, hey, away, hi, away, hi, away, hi, away, oh, hi, away, hi. So I'd like to give thanks to the Mishimis and Nookamis and Digimoni too that come and walk with us and guide our actions and our words, and to come and sit with us and to connect, to give us that connection from our hearts to our. So this is how I pray to you today. Okay.
I just say, Debbie, thank you. And yeah, so before we go further, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who have footsteps have marked these lands for centuries before us. And we also want to acknowledge in these spaces that we do work and play in traditional territories of other nations as uninvited guests. So it is our responsibility to respect those territories and to work to understand the natural and the traditional laws and cultures as we would any other colonial laws. A positive of living in this virtual world is that are spread across Turtle Island. So as each speaker speaks, please feel comfortable to share where you're from. It's great to see how vast our meeting place is right now. So I myself, I'm currently on Treaty 7 territory. It's the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Nations, including the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, the Sutnan Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda First Nations. Hinanaskomotinowau, to all Indigenous territories that we work in. And also take a moment to acknowledge that this is a safe space. We want everyone to be fully relaxed, feel completely comfortable, supported, never to be challenged on any account of sex, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, background, physical or mental ability. So this is a place where we all guard each other's respect and dignity and their feelings. So we strongly encourage everyone to please carry out those values, which I know all of you will. With that, Tansei. Pinesi Waskau Squale, Nisvigasan Kiwatno Goche, Nitoshin, Missaplastic, Equa, Lynn Lake, Manitoba. My Cree teachers are here, so I'm like a little bit shy now saying it. But what I was trying to say is my name is Julia Stodman, and I also carry the name of Thundercloud Woman. And I'm a mentorship officer here in the Rivers to Success program. And I also shared that I'm from the North. I'm very proud to be from Northern Manitoba. And my reserve is Grand Rapids, Missaplastic Cree Nation, but I grew up in Lynn Lake, Manitoba. So before we get fully into what we're doing and you get to meet all the speakers, I do want to take a moment to let my colleagues introduce themselves. I'm pretty sure for everyone that's here, you were on the previous calls to know that this event is a part of Rivers to Success. And Rivers to Success is a 3-stream mentorship program for high school, post-secondary, and career transition students. So we offer one-to-one and group mentorship opportunities. And then we also have a virtual portal, and hopefully post-pandemic we'll be meeting in person. But for now, we have a portal of a community that we're creating, and we offer resources such as this one, which will be recorded and put into there, but resources on a whole range of things. And then we also do events like this monthly to bring people together in ways just to connect and build that community with one another. So yeah, with that, if you have any other questions, I'll put the link to the program in the chat, but I'll pass it on to Ali and then Greg, and then we'll pass it on to our speakers.
Nahamigwech, Ani Bojo, Wachiampi Indigenous cause, get the Gunzi and Don Java, Niagara Falls, and Inspire and Donjanaki. Hello, everybody. The name that I shared is a Lakota name, even though my introduction there was in Anishinaabe. I am a second language learner, and often I feel rusty because I'm not directly working in the field of language learning or teaching or in a community where it's very accessible. I live in Niagara Falls with my family, and they're all non-speakers. So although my children are speaking some phrases, so it's interesting to pass on what I know to them and to see how quick they are at learning. And I'm from Garden River First Nation in Ontario, Boating, up near Sault Ste. Marie. And here in this particular territory, I am acknowledging the dish with one spoon and the Royal Proclamation of 1763, the Treaty of Niagara, and the Upper and Canada treaties. That's, I guess, the territories that I'm currently. Also a sacred site for the Anishinaabe and part of our migration stories. I'm very happy to be joining you here today. I love any opportunity to learn language and hear language, and I might even be a fan of some of the guests here today in my language learning. And I'm just super excited about today. So, miigwech. Gintam Greg.
Tadanse na jargonak, graskape, meyak. Maskigi wasko nisnigaswin, piesis penesis, mchikamako che, miskanagani che, igwa mugosagagano che nina. So hello everybody, hello my friends and family. My name is Greg Monias. My spirit name is Medicine Cloud, Thunderbird Clan, and I am so happy to be here. I am a Rivers to Success mentorship officer, and just happy to celebrate language and have fun with language and be able to experience language in different ways. So very privileged and very honored to be here. And thank you for everyone for joining. I know I'm being a pest in the chat to everybody who hasn't selected their language group. So could you please let me know which ones you want to be in? I'm going to be putting people in breakout rooms later. So if I've direct messaged you, please message me back. All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
I gotta say, thank you, everyone. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Community Story Strategies. We've been doing this with Jennifer LaFontaine and Shelby Lisk. And yeah, I'm really excited for you guys to see what we're going to be doing. So I'll pass it over to you to take over.
Do you want to go first, Shelby?
Yeah, sure. I was not at all nervous until Julia was like, my teachers are here. And then I was like, oh my God, my teacher's here. So now I'm nervous, but Sego Sewa Gwego, Shelby Jungyats, Lisk de Waxanazre, Ganyan Gehaga ni Wakwinjoron, Danon Waganyaton, Gundege ni Tonanu ne Aguatsere, Ganadro ni Gideron, Gary Wadrorax, G TVO, Danon Ganyan Geha Garewe Onsta. So my name is Shelby Lisk, and I'm Mohawk Turtle Clan from Gundege, also known as Tyendinaga Mohawk Territory, but I currently live in Ottawa right now on unceded Algonquin territory. I work as a journalist for TVO, covering Indigenous stories across Ontario, and I had the great fortune to meet Jennifer and her partner and be introduced to some of the work that they do and get to join them on this journey. So, and I'm also a language learner myself and have been learning for a couple years now. And this is I think this is the first year I've ever started introducing myself in front of groups of people. So scary and fun.
Miigwech, Shelby. Okay, Nibi Makwa Indigenous. Jijib Sagi Iganing and Donjaba, Toronto and Da. My name is Jennifer. I'm from Duck Lake, Saskatchewan, and I'm Métis. But I have learned a little bit of several languages. So Anishinaabe is one of the traditional territories, the languages of the traditional territories that I'm on in Toronto. So at the moment, my introduction is in Anishinaabe. I'm, like I said, Métis from Duck Lake, Saskatchewan. And I have a business called Community Story Strategies. And Shelby and I are here together to do a workshop with you about language. But what we love to do is use media and storytelling, one or both of those things, as ways to engage our communities in community building, language learning, advocating for our rights, and so on. And so this is a two-part series. So you might have been at both of them, or you might be new today. Either is fine. It'll be totally possible for you to be in this workshop. But the two-part series started on Indigenous Languages Day. And these sessions are to honor Indigenous languages. So in the first session, we talked about what Indigenous languages mean to us in all of the different cultures and backgrounds that we are in across Turtle Island. And we made collective poems about the topic of Indigenous languages. And then we did this awesome thing. We went to our networks of fluent speakers and we said, can you translate these into your languages for us? And so today is about honoring those languages, but also sort of through a bit of a creative process. We're going to hear from the language speakers about their own language journey and about their own languages that they speak. Then they're going to translate those poems and share them in their languages for us and just make comments about the poems. They might be commenting about the poem topic or about sort of the process of translating and any interesting facts that they have about it, that with us. And then we get a language lesson. So we're going to separate into groups. You may or may not be connected directly to those language groups. But that doesn't matter. What this session is about is sort of taking space to be present with Indigenous languages and to hear the differences and similarities between them, to honor our fluent speakers and to learn a little bit. I know that I have learned a little bit of a bunch of different Indigenous languages, and every time I do, it informs the one that I'm learning the most of. And it also gets me excited about language. So that's what our goals are for today. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to start us off. So as I said, the first part is sort of like a panel discussion. We're going to just invite some comments from each person. So again, to our fluent speakers, I would just love for you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your own language journey or experience. And also just make sure you let us know what language you speak and sort of where it's located in Canada. Some of the folks in the workshop may be familiar with those languages or may not. Okay, so who should we go first? Hilda, would you like to go first?
Sekun sawakwekun wakatsanuniti ka akwekun skahne tatuat idawes na adawatun haran ungwawana kanerahtahawi Hilda Nicholas imjats kanisatake nitawagen tamnum ne jokunte wajote ne ungwawana amsuntum hete. Greetings to everyone. My name is Kanera Tahawi, Hilda Nicholas, and I'm very happy to be here with all of you to celebrate our language. It's an awesome thing to do. And I am from Ganassadaka, Quebec, and I am the director of the Language and Cultural Center in our community. And I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I've been working in the language revitalization and promotion, revitalizing over 30 years. I've done some teaching and curriculum development. I have translated tons and tons of different documentaries that has been aired on APTN TV network. And I was also for a year, I was a host in the language for the documentaries I have translated. I also have interpreted in the House of Commons for Mark Miller. I have translated the Murdered and Missing Women and Girls recommendations and final reports. I've also translated the Oka crisis video film. So I have a huge experience with the language. It is my first language, and I just love my language, and I have a huge passion. And I'm always very, very, very proud to see young people learning their language, because in order for our language to survive, we need the speakers and we need the young people to learn the language so they can carry on. And I always have a huge respect for all of you learning the language. And there's just, I can't find the right words to describe how much my passion is the Kanyakeha language. That's it. Yeah.
Miigwech, thank you so much, Hilda.
You're welcome.
Okay, how about Liz?
Pusho, ginyu mi gondigo, makondin wema, amikto dem. We quem kong minidum nising donjaba, Mampi Hastings me gondida. Upchuan gitchenendum, yiquij magawam, Mampi we, Mampi not magia, me what shishindikit. My English name is Liz Ozalmik, and my spirit name is Ginumigwan, which is Golden Eagle Feather, and I'm related to the bear, but I'm of the Beaver clan, and I am originally from Wequampong on Manitoulin Island, and I reside here in Hastings. So I'm just grateful to help out in any way that I can, and I've been teaching Anishinaabe probably over 27 years. My family is all fluent in the language. I'm the youngest of 13 children. And so I feel like there's so much that I need to learn still because everyone had moved out before, when I was growing up. And so there's still a lot of old words that I don't know. And I depend on my walking dictionaries, my aunt and my older siblings and my cousins. And so I just want to say Chimiwech, for everyone for partaking in this. And, language is very important. And, I do what I can to teach Anishinaabe, whether it be in schools. I've taught, daycare, elementary school, high school, college, and university. And right now I'm, teaching Anishinaabe at Trent University. And I do language immersion, camps, wherever they are, whether they be here in Ontario or in Michigan. And so I've been attending there, every year with helping out with the language immersion camps. So, I do what I can to help out where it is needed. So, Chimiwech for having me here today. Yeah, miigwech.
Miigwech, Liz. Les, would you like to go now?
Okay, Gaguchitan, I'll give it a go, Yeah. Ja, hi, magni aga big squal mitjo umam. Noachn big squal kri. The best man kri, hi magni mitjo big squal. I said I'll try because it's hard for me to talk mitjif when I hear Cree. I talk Cree better than mitjif, Ga asle mon mitjif ki big squat ni lang. The Métis long time ago could talk a lot of languages, right? Big when you stay, she's in Guchitan. Me too, I try to be the same. Hey, go se limichef, kanak skatuchik. Uyo au hai a big skatuchik amichef. Maga limichef, kanak squatchik gut le monde ayar. Ekusi se big squatok. Da skutaya. Le cri, le soju, kashkita wa gayash le monde. So Métis long time could talk a lot of languages. They only talk Michif when they meet each other. When Métis long time ago meet people, other kind of people, they could usually talk their language. They can talk Cree, they can talk, we call them Soto, but Anishinaabe, they can, long time people could talk that language, So, me too, I try to do the same. And then sometimes when I hear other languages, I want to talk that instead of Michif, but Gaguchitan, Egusishe, less Skinner and Sinikashon. Numusum, Leblanc Numusum. My grandpa's a white man where I get the Skinner from. Egusishe, Nukum, Limichif, Nukum. My grandma's a Métis, Guahuma, Nia, Ishaga Inuyan, Lumdu Buenia, I'm a bushman. Munia, Mr. Hege went to a thing with the Danville. I never did lots of things in the city, Gapesh Kishketa man, Umamaran. How I learned my language. Umayawashisuyan. When I was a kid, my dad worked all the time. Ewa ni mama Mr. Hiakusit. My mom all the time, she's sick. Hekuse nuhum nimusum nui jok. I stay with my grandparents. Pinjapan we stay kute we get tiga wigan. And my Japan lived there where I live. Japan. Virginie Marcheji Sinika Sut. We stuff from Grand Rapids was Chivia. Japan. Egwaya. We are nice to Nihio. Peak school the Korea Puaya. Limited peak school. No me them la Grega peak squid in Japan. You know, my Japan, she didn't like to talk English, you know. She talked Cree or she talked me Jeff, you know. Ergom se la jig la Riviera Rouge is Nungamu. She would sing Red River Jig, you know. La jigni mu ya. Yeah, bit. And she would dance while she's sitting down, while she's singing. She danced jig. When you me and I appreciate stay in a good sneam. Me too, a little kid, I try to dance. Sorry, I can't. And Muggy going to Gishkishin and Mote La Lang, Gag Snumwat in Japan. I don't remember none of that language that my Japan taught me. Muggy Guayok Shishe, Gag Skit the Manum, Hewa Shishuyan. I didn't remember none of that stuff as a child. You know, Pugoga Gashkita Yane. Noga Mio Ashiki, Guaymi Cousin, Gaetagik. I only remember how to swear at my cousins. That's all I knew how to do as a kid, you know. In the language, Maga, Gagskishianuma, Njapan, Gashaki hit, Gagtamagim, Njapan, Ego Gagskishian. So what I remembered is how my Japan loved me and how she, I just said love two different ways. I don't know how to say it in English, but compassionate kind of love. How that my Japan cared about me and that live in our language. Kapeum gat Matsian can to eat the manum. That's why I've always wanted to speak Michif and Cree as long as I'm alive, because I remember that feeling. That's what we call kinship, you know. And so I'll just leave it there. That's good, you know. That's why I like to talk Cree and Michif, you know. And I like, sorry, wait, I'm going to say another thing. I know I said that's it, but Umina pitusle kriege speaks quick usam Nzapan wista euxise in nimun the creed dan nord speak school maske uskun Nzapan maga umatiga wigan pasqual peakskun the creed plan. You know, so I said, I like to hear you guys, all your different languages and that different kind of Cree, because my Japan too is a swampy Cree, you know, that where how she talk Cree, but where I live now, I talk Plains, you know, so I like to hear it different, you know. Okay, now I'm done. Sorry.
Hi, Les. Okay, Joyce, please, would you like to go next?
Good afternoon, everybody. Joyce Nitis Nihason, Matusagay Ganinan Toastin, Egonina Gapengi Be in the Niman Spenai Taugian. Egomina Gigiskanomo, state in what in the Nimuchek, Kayas Hagimachitayan 1999, Kagitigiskanoma again. You Egomina di masnahin masnaigan tagiskin tahikan sagisi ininimutsik ininuak nisim ang nagiwichi egi mas nahamakan naman masnaigan mots ninimog nitawasamisak asamawi nuaw upiguwak Egwa wige in the name asay. So I just said my name is Joyce Noonan. I'm from God's Lake Narrows. I'm a fluent speaker since the day I was born. I heard the language. My sister and I wrote a book. It's called Be Ininimok. What it really inspired me to write the book was because I've been teaching Cree since 1999, but most of the time I am teaching adults. So we wanted to write a book for kids as well, for older kids. I don't want to take up too much time, so I'm not a talker, so thank you.
Kinanaskomitin Joyce. Grace.
And Sikino, Tabikiminastag no Yamiak, how Mawit say how less Kamate Yamits Plains Cree, I got Mitchif mixed up. It sounded really nice. I enjoyed listening to Les and everybody else, of course. I understood Les more than anyone else. My name is Grace, and I'm originally from Andusaga and God's Lake Narrows. And in 1998, I had decided that I wanted to learn to read and write Cree. And I'm from the Swampy Cree dialect, the N dialect, and I know there's about 5. There's the N, there's the Y, there's the L and the R and the TH. But I am from the N dialect. So I wanted to learn how to read and write it. So I did go to Red River College, where I was taught by Ida Bear to learn how to read and write in both Roman orthography and syllabics. So after that part, after I completed that, I had one. My intention was to be an interpreter, and then that turned around. So I only interpreted a little bit when the residential school adjudicators that's when the residential school story started coming up. So I did interpreting there for a little while. And after doing 2 or 3 months of that, I thought that was way too, it just made me angry. So I decided not to do that anymore. Just hearing the stories, I wasn't prepared to hear them. So I quit that. But I wanted to continue with the language. So I got a lot of commercial jobs, like translating little commercials for APTN and like who said that now? I can't remember. I think it was Ali, maybe. I was doing little commercials. I can't remember. Anyway, I did that, and then after writing the book, but I'm one for sharing my language. I really like to share Cree with whoever wants to learn it. I'm not the best teacher there is, so that's why I kind of joined with my sister, because she's the teacher, that's Joyce, and I'm just the helper. So, and I'm the one with the bigger mouth. Anyway, nice to meet everybody. Thank you.
Hi, Grace. Okay, I think that was our panel of fluent speakers. I didn't miss anybody, right? No. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you all for your introductions and for sharing a little bit about your experiences with the language. And so, as we heard, we had some people who spoke the language right from birth, and some who sort of came in and out of it, and some who learned it along the way, which is so inspiring to know. There's so many paths to language learning. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to invite our fluent speakers to share the poems that we created. If you are a participant here, there's a few of you, can you just give me like a little reaction to tell me if you had been involved in making one of the poems? Like, so could you click a thumbs up or wave to me? Yeah, Brad was there. Megan was there. Ali, Tristina. Wonderful. Okay, so a few of you are going to hear the amazing poem that you created, and then you get to hear it in the language. It's going to be awesome. And if you weren't here, you're going to know that you get to hear a poem in the language, and then you'll hear it in English, and we'll just sort of have a little talk about it, okay? So once again, these poems were, what we did was we prompted people with the concept of Indigenous language, and then we did a collective activity to create a group poem. Okay, so each poem had several voices in it, all working together to create that. Okay, so here's the trick. We want to share each poem 2 times, and we want to hear it back to back. Liz, can you say like the first line in English of your poem?
What is your name?
Okay, does anybody else have that one? Does that ring a bell? Les? Okay, perfect. So we're going to have Liz say it in Anishinaabemowin, then Les say it in Michif, and then we're going to have Shelby say it in English, and then we're going to get a comment from Liz and Les just about either, again, the concept of the poem or something that was interesting in the translating. Okay, here we go. So, actually, pardon me, I forgot one other thing, one important thing. For the participants, here we are all in our little Zoom bubbles. We see each other in little tiny squares. We've been in 8 million of these in the last year. And so what I want to encourage you to do is really think about the language. And again, you might be fluent in this language or you may have never heard it before, but try and feel it in your body. I really connected with what Les said around that he might not have kept all the words from his grandma, but he kept it in his heart, kept it in his feeling. So what I'd love for you to do is grab a pen and paper and just, if you want, draw a very simple body, like just draw an outline of a body. And then as you hear the poems, you could shade in where you feel it in your body when you hear the poem, or you could write words that you feel when you hear the language, or if you're a new speaker, so Shelby, when she first heard the poem in Mohawk, went, "Oh, I heard this many words." She might write the words that she recognized. You can draw a symbol, anything that you feel like. What we're basically asking you to do is doodle. Draw anything that you want as you hear the words. And if that's not your jam, totally fine to just sit back and listen. We're just inviting you to sort of think and feel with the languages. Okay, so Liz, please go ahead.
Okay, much. Ani Sheshnikazien, and then Jagadek, Egmuding, Makadeje, Ewidige Kodijik, Enoch Jagadek, Gibazagewin, Menejito Dagewin, Engo Wap Minagok Ake, Ngwe Wakanegewin, Enoch Chiget, Nishna Beadzuin, Nyap Skabimok, Enon Guak Egnoak, Wewejuan Wenan, Enje Minedapnegewin, Mishkuziwin, On Kubdek, Njekenda Sung a King, Shkakanekwe, Ki Noah, Jijak, Zagidwin, Ganajwan, Bemadzuin, Menedo, Ki Noah, Mishomis, Nokonis, Gitsajik, Eje Goodway Yang Gizing, Kidan. Mia.
Miigwech, Liz. Les.
Okay. Sorry, I guess I could have had it ready, but I was listening. Okay, I'll start. Danse kitsinichasun. Hewan giskishi. Hegemuti. La poufonsi. Lisor. Hewan sinig. Nongo eska tutuit. L'injustice. Awinpan. Le terrain. Les chouets. Tini postamagik. Kawe chin mechifuik. Les vagues fortes. Timiuichetuch. Nistihega gaskitach. Gaishwakutuch. Kiks nog magon de la terre. Nooit meer la terre. Kiena. l'esprit, l'amour, la beauté, la vie, le bon Dieu, qui attire Musum, Nuhum, les vieux, la famille, et aussi toi. Excellent.
Hi, Les. And Shelby.
What is your name? Forgotten, stolen, dark sisters, lost, betrayal, injustice, vanished land, decision, activism, culture regained, deep currents, reconciliation, powerful connection, learning from the land, Mother Earth. Is that you? Spirit, love, beauty, life. Is that you? Grandpa, elders, family. Say it.
Miigwech, Shelby. Thank you so much. That was our first poem in 3 languages. Liz or Les, do you have just a quick comment on the poem itself or on anything around translating or the feel of the language? Maybe Liz first.
Well, for this poem, just thinking about our missing and murdered, that's what come to me was when I was translating this, and it's it brought back some memories where it's happening every day, and then we think back and we go back to our Shkakmakwe, our Mother the Earth, and so we make that connection back to the land, with everything that is here that is placed upon her, this beautiful sacred place that and we make that connection back to to our families, and our elders, our old ones, and so we try and make that connection with all our our loved ones, and I really enjoyed translating. I did have some words that where I had I found that there was many, there could have been 2 or 3 ways of saying these words, and then when putting it all together, that you had to choose which one would fit best for this poem. And so it was slightly difficult at first, because of the 1 or 2 or 3 ways of saying these words, and to best put it into this poem. So yeah. So miigwech.
Les?
Oh yeah, what she said is good. I was this morning, or not this morning, when I first look at this poem, I say, boy, what I sign up for? I'm gonna translate some of these words, and then when I start translating, I say, boy, this isn't gonna make sense. I don't think this is gonna make sense in Michif, and then some of the words, in a sense, change the meaning when you convert them into a different language, right? It takes on a new meaning. And then when an example of that was connections, how the heck am I going to say connections? I thought, closest thing I think I can say is kinship. How we're all related, right? And it goes beyond just, a people, it goes right down to the land, right? And everything. And spirituality, everything, and then when this morning when I said, I better give this a read through before I go on here, or I'm going to be just stumbling on my words. So I sit down and do that read through, and I say, yeah, it makes sense. Actually, it makes sense. It almost tells a story of of how we have some loss and the things that we are missing, but that they're still there, and it comes around to how we can find them, And so I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, that's it. And I like the way Liz said it was really good.
Thank you, Les. Joyce, could you read out the first line of one of the poems that you translated?
Okay, so the ours is Where Do I Start?
Okay. Does anybody recognize that? Did anybody else? Brad, you were in that poem group. Wonderful. Did anybody else translate that one? Okay. We originally had an Inuit speaker coming as well, so I think there might be just like some of them might not be with two people. So Joyce, I'm going to have you share that poem, please.
Okay. Tante ke machitayan, ke mutuin, kita makeo, kikupanuin, wanistawin, paspewin, niwikiskenten, niwi minoyan, kigan e kakweche hemuyan. Esa mistets kakweche hemuena. Nina uma papa metisuwin. Ninikan nemek. Nina uma nitaski. Nige. Piak kanuen ta kasuwin. Payastak kanuen ta kusuwin. Anis como win.
Thank you, Joyce. Miigwech. Do you have any comment on either what the poem meant to you or of what it's like to sort of explore in those two languages?
Well, when we were translating the poem, you have to be able to make it flow. Liz said, you have to, pick the right words for the poem, because in my experience, I know for a fact in my Cree language that I cannot translate word for word for a lot of the words, because we don't have a lot of words. So what we do is we describe what it is that we're talking about. So to make it sound good, we have to, pick out the words. Like we have a lot of different meanings in Cree for one word, so we have to pick the perfect word for the poem, because it has a lot of, one word could have 2 or 3 different meanings. So it was very good. I enjoyed it, going that, because it makes you think about your language and how to make it sound good when you're doing it, so that we're not just rambling on, just throwing any old words in there. We have to make sure that we are making sense when we're reading the poem. So it was a good experience. It's challenging.
Yeah. Hi, Joyce. I realized I forgot to have the English translation. Shelby, do you want to read that one?
Mm-hmm. Where do I start? Stolen, forbidden, broken, lost, endangered. I want to learn. I need healing. Why do I ask so many questions? This is my journey, my future. This is my land, my home, where I feel safe, connected. Grandmother, grandfather, mother, father, kinship. I have so many questions. Learning is still possible. I am listening to the land, picking up knowledge as I go. Revitalization is our responsibility. I am revolutionary. It is time to sing. It is time to celebrate.
Beautiful. Thank you. Hilda, could you read the first line in English of one of the poems you translated?
Where do I start?
Oh, perfect. That's the same one. So read that one right now. So we'll it's still fresh in our mind.
Okay. Ka nunwe at katasawa. Ka nasku. Kari wastum. Te yohriim. Yohtum. Jotterum amtum. Ikehre akewayan tehtane. Te wakatum zoni amsache wontane. Jera keri wanumta. Weso ne keri wanumta. Tuki ni waka hota. Agwegum ne na ohantum dawe. Ii akawa ki ohunsa. Tiki terum. Sinunwe ne genumste. Teka nera. Ka sutsera. Aksutha. Raksutha. Age nistaha. Rake niha. Kahwadzire. Weso wacha. Takariwa serako. Sekum yutum. Aite wawayente tatne. Ne ohunsa. Katahum sate. Tawake kuhache. Karihunyani tsera. Tsi ige. Impateri wayani. Am sijum hete. Tawakat tenyum hache. Yoyanere. Tsi yakotum hahtanchum. Yoyanere.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Do you have any short comments about the poem or about the translating?
I think it's very beautiful. And it tells a story of the journey that most of us are going through. And it talks about all the things that's very important and dear to us, our land, our family, the endangered, and the responsibility, and that there's still a chance that we can learn and to be able to celebrate.
Thank you, Hilda.
You're welcome.
Les, could you read the first line out in English of your next poem?
Sorry, sure, no problem. I hope you guys can't hear my roommates fighting in the background. She's saying wouldn't get stick, but it's okay. It's nice. Sunshine.
What was it again?
Sunshine.
Okay.
Maybe I picked the wrong word first.
No. Oh yeah, was that the one that was like in a circle?
Yeah, they were all over.
Okay. So Liz, you also had that one, right?
I got
okay,
that.
Great. Okay, so
Earth, flower, relationship.
Perfect. Okay, so go ahead. We'll go Les and then Liz.
Le beau soleil est pissimo, notre mère la terre, la fleur. Gaishua huto, chiwichito, non gawechesik, kanan pachuhue, dehors le monde, 14 Except that's.
Thank you so much. Liz.
Okay, so Anishinaabemowen, Gamudawin, Nebe, Zungde, Minadenmowen, Jowen Jagewin, Minedokewin, Eke, Shaje Godnamajajik, Chitwa Wendaguk, Ankubjige Makuk, Anishinaabemda, Gitagan Zibi, Miigwech Wendam, Binochiak, Ndodem, Zagidwin, Zagate, Waskune, Nadmagewin, Gujin, Ganajwan, Bimadsajik, Znagat, Shkakmekwe, Wijigewin, Nojmoin. Mia, Miigwech.
Miigwech, Liz. Shelby just sent me a little message saying, there's so much Anishinaabe Moan in that poem. Maybe could you read it? It's sort of like half and half. So could you read the English Anishinaabe Moan version?
I can share it on my screen if that would be helpful.
Oh yeah, that might be nice because this one had a really beautiful visual to it.
Let me see.
I didn't even ask Allie this, but maybe Allie, do you want to read it?
Oh yeah.
Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Allie, would you like
You
to
see me laying in?
Yeah.
I tell my teammates all the time, I'm like, my eyes are getting older now. That's really good though. Thank you for that. And they're not that old. I'm just starting to notice. Now, Anishinaabe one, stolen. Ngashe Nibe Zongde, honor, blessing, ceremony, land, ancestors, sacred, Indigenous language, connection. Anishinaabe da, Gitigan Zibi, Miigwech children, Ndodem, Biwe Zinmak, Zalgidawin. Sunshine, flower, help, outdoors, beautiful people, complicated. Mother Earth, relationship, healing. Mil.
Miigwech, Allie. Liz or Les, any quick comments? I realize we're getting into the second round now, so we don't have to spend too much time on each one, but just any quick thought.
Intam less.
You know what? I'm looking at this a second time, and when I first looked at it, I was like, I don't understand these words. But I looked at it a second time, I understand quite a few of those words in Anishinaabe one, you know. That yeah, so I didn't put them in when I did it. Maybe I should have put them in. I didn't understand, but it was still good, you know. And yeah, I don't know. I think that some of the things I say for the last one, it affect on this one too, and it just I don't know. It makes a nice image for me, you know, and it sounds nice.
Miigwech, Les. And Liz.
Okay. Just basically, you know, it's the same, like, you know, it's having that connection to the earth, Shkakamekwe, and, you know, everything that is connected to everything and to the land and, you know, our language. And so it's just like coming to a full, like to, you know, come back, you know, to learn the language and, you know, to live off the land or to, you know, go back to the land to, you know, to get our knowledge from, you know, Shkakamekwe to the land. So, yeah, Miigwech.
Miigwech. Hilda, could you read your second poem? I think this is the last one we have.
Okay. What is your name?
No, the other one.
I did two. What is your name? And
we've already done. Did we do all those already?
Grace hasn't done hers yet.
Grace, did you do one?
I have my language.
Okay, let's do that one.
That one?
Yep.
Nipigiskoen. Kitaan tao tinaman. Wani hanuach. Paspewen. Nipigiskoen. Nina kanawin tamuin. Askit tinaman. Guta apat stayak. Itach ko naman. Ka minatago ni Pigiskoena. Damaskwak. Damaskawak. I think I spelled this wrong. Damaskawak. Be strong. Tagustama. Pimatisu. Ipigiskoen. Kistikegoan. Maskausiwen. Kisagitan. Itayan, nipigis ko. That's it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Grace, did you have a comment on the poem or on the process of exploring the languages?
Well, I guess for me, because I translated so many things for a long time now, that when I just see words, sometimes I just translate them without even thinking about it. And then sometimes when I see a word and say, how in the heck am I going to translate that word, and how am I going to? So I just use the best of my ability to make it flow, like Joy said, and like Les says with these words. Like, it's hard to know what the poet is trying to accomplish in their poetry, right? So you to try and put your mind into that person's mind, and then to see what it is that they want to capture in their poem. These ones are good because it's only like one or two words, so this one was easy. It's ones that have long translations. That's usually just painful. It can be done.
Thank you. Shelby, did you find that one? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is actually my groups.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, go ahead.
My language, recaptured, forgotten, endangered. My language, my responsibility, embraced, essential, carrying on. My beautiful language, empowered, feared, alive. My language, important, resilient, beloved, mine. My language.
Beautiful. Thank you. For my fluent speakers, did I get all of the poems, or does anybody have something that you still need to share or would like to share?
I still have one that said,
Great. You want to read it? The one I have so many questions because that's somebody I didn't finish.
Yeah, there's one. I have so many questions, and then Minope Matsuin, The Good Life. Somebody wrote is half in English, or half in English and half in Cree. Okay. That's another one I got. So,
yep, go ahead.
Okay. So Minope Matsuin, Tabu Koyas, Sagitin, Asatanagamuyan, Asatamuchigentaman. Or Muchigentanuan. Not myself, but everybody. Muchigentan. That's that little one that was it was like five lines. I don't know if that was an individual poem or maybe that was
Thank you. Beautiful. Any quick comment, or should we move? Hilda, did we do two with you yet, or just one?
No, I translated two poems that was given, and I did Where Do I Start? And I also did the one I said, What is your name?
Okay.
Yeah.
And you shared both of them just now?
No, I shared one.
You shared one. Could you share the other one now?
Sure.
Okay.
What is your name? Nahota Yusayats. Katnikum Ra'a. Kanasko. Chako na karas. Kuntate ko ogum a. Yako jata tum. Aintate nikum rata. Ya tetkari wayeri. Yohtum. Ohunza. Tekari wainta. Yeri wasken has. Tsakoyena tiniakori hota. Yo na wa notes. Mzayeri waserumni. Ka satsto serowana neteka nera. Yeti istaha ohunza. Iseka atum hets. Ganurum quatsera, Yoskats, Atun hetsera, Todims, Gahwadzire, Nedzirum. That's it. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Hilda.
You're welcome.
Any last comment for any of the speakers? Thank you all. I just loved hearing them in the different languages, hearing the similarities and differences with the languages, and just, I think sometimes when we learn languages, we get very practical, right? We get like, this is how do you say, the cat, this is how you say the door, and we get sort of caught in building our vocabulary and whatnot. And so it's just very beautiful to spend time with this language where you're interpreting for us and bringing your knowledge of the language to us in a different way.
Can I add something in there, Jennifer?
Yeah.
And just for the speakers, when we put these poems together, I wish you could have seen just the passion that everyone had for the language. It was really cool to go into the breakout rooms, and I just came out of there just with a really full heart and like excited. And of course, like when we're having these discussions, there's the discussion of loss and everything that comes with it. But then there was also those discussions of empowerment and reclaiming identity. And it was really great to be a part of. So I hope you were able to see that in the words of the poems. I know we were all very proud of the poems, and everyone who's at the previous session is asking for them to be sent over in English and the translated language as well. So, like I said.
Thank you, Julia. Okay, we're going to take so what we're going to do now is we're going to go into some breakout rooms. There'll be a nice little group in each session, and you will be with a fluent speaker, and they're going to teach us some of their language. Okay, and we're going to use the poem as a starting place, but every fluent speaker has chosen that differently. So maybe one of the fluent speakers has said, these are the 10 things I want to teach from the words in the poem. And somebody else might say, okay, I'm going to use this as a way to go off in this direction. So each of them has sort of thought of it as a starting place to open up a conversation about language. We're going to just do one thing for 5 minutes to close this up, and then we're going to do a final thank you goodbye. Shelby, we're going to squeeze this in, folks, because we are the storytellers, right? So we're going to end with a story.
So what we wanted to do earlier, Jennifer gave you all the option to sort of visualize the way that you were feeling through these drawings. And now we wanted to give you an opportunity to write about, how the experience felt as well, if that works for you. And I was talking to Jennifer earlier about how, we've all been going from meeting to meeting and conference to conference on Zoom. And sometimes we don't even have the time to let it sink in what just happened there. And so I think it's nice to have a moment to sort of reflect and think about that. So I'm going to share a couple of writing prompts with you, and give you 5 minutes to sort of write a little bit about what you're feeling about that. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Jen says postcard size amount of writing is good to aim for. So the first prompt that we have, let me write it, is what does it feel like to hear Indigenous languages? So you could write about that. Like I said, we already had kind of visualized that as well. But now if you want to put it into words and process it in a different way, the second prompt that we have is tell a story about a moment that you felt connection to Indigenous language. So that could be now during this workshop. That could be any moment from your life. And then the last writing prompt that we had that I was thinking about this morning was, what would it be like to write a letter to your language? So what might you want to ask your language? What maybe would you want to promise it? How would you ask it to support you? What gratitude might you give to it? Those are some of the things that you might think about. And so if everybody has a pen and paper, or you can type on your computer, whatever you feel like, you can choose one of those prompts. You can mix them together, whatever is calling to you. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes to just reflect on today. Jennifer, do we have time to ask anybody how they felt about that, or are we I think we're a little out of time.
I think we are. I think we can just say we had intentions to have you share in a story circle, but I also think that what I encourage you to do is go share that story with someone in your life. Just the next person who walks into your home. We know hardly anybody goes in your home anymore, but share it. Tell a little story because stories invite stories, and language invites language. And so the more we speak it, and the more we share it, and the more it's in our lives and it's in our hearts. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much to all of the fluent speakers for joining us today in this creative process. And I think, Julia, were we going to just do a little close?
Yep, we'll pass it over to Debbie, but before we go, I just also want to say kinanaskamatinoa to all of you. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you continue to come to our events, come to see what we're doing, and all of the speakers, again, thank you so much, and you'll probably hear from us again, so talk to you soon, and go ahead, Debbie.
Okay, Mushamas, Nokamas, Gijimanitu, give us your blessings today, and continue to watch over us and watch over our families and our homes. Watch over us as we struggle with illness in our bodies, and just keep our families healthy and keep us safe from this virus that's plaguing our Mother Earth. And so we just ask that you keep a close eye on our families. And we also ask for blessings for people to continue to revitalize our languages and to revitalize our old ways of life, our old ways of being, and so that we can continue and bring it back to our younger generation. So we thank the grandfathers and grandmothers in the 4 directions to heal our mind, body, and spirit, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And this is how we pray to you today. Chimigwech, chimigwech, chimigwech. Thank you.
Chimigwech, kinanaskomitin. Oh, I got to practice my thank you. Hold on. Where did it go? Kitatimihin. Kitatamihin. How did I do, Les? Yeah.
I wrote it down there. Kitatamihin. That's what you say to one person. But you say to lots of people, you have to say, Kitatamihin now.
Oh, okay. Perfect. A perfect way to end with a little singular to plural lesson. Okay. Julia, are we good to say muestas, Bamapi? Goodbye, everybody.
Bamapi.
Onegiwahi.